how to crochet the cutest bulky weight beginner friendly beanies. Alrighty guys, to crochet a beanie just like the one right here, I'm going to be using Hobby Amigo yarn. This is a chunky or bulky weight size 5 yarn. You could use worsted held double or a few strands of DK. Any yarn that meets gauge is going to be absolutely perfect. And I will link the pattern itself down below so that you can follow along with the written version. It'll definitely be a little bit easier that way if you just have it to follow along with, especially if you are making a different size. So I'm going to be making the size medium in today's tutorial. This pattern is written in 3 sizes, small, medium, and large. Like I said, the written pattern is listed in the description box below. So be sure to check that out if you want to make a different size along with me today. But this one is going to measure about 20 inches when it's complete. And it's also really stretchy. So all of these sizes are going to fit many different size heads. So to get started, I'm going to make a slip knot just like so. I'm going to insert my crochet hook. I'm using a 10mm crochet hook today. And then I'm going to make a foundation chain of 21 stitches. This hat is worked flat. We're going to make a rectangle, and then we're going to slip stitch down the side to join it and sew up the top to create the crown of our beanie. So it's really beginner friendly and easy to make. I absolutely love this pattern so much, and I hope that you guys do too. Okay, so we're going to chain 21 stitches. Alrighty, and then once you have 21 chains, we're going to start with row 1. We're going to yarn over, skip this very first chain that's on your hook, and work a half double crochet stitch into the next chain. So we'll just pull through all 3 of those loops. Again, yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And we're just going to repeat that all the way across. So we are just working 1 half double crochet in each chain stitch all the way until we get back to that very first chain and our slip knot. And that is all there is to it for row 1. Alrighty, I have just finished row 1 and I'm ready for row 2. This is going to start our repeat, and we're just going to repeat row 2 for the rest of our beanie. So we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then work a half double crochet in each stitch across. And that is literally it. We're just half double crocheting in every single stitch all the way across. And that is all there is to it for this beanie. We're just going to repeat this row for the rest of it. So that amount of rows is going to vary just a little bit depending on the size that you are making. For this size, I'm going to work until I have 17 inches, until my piece is 17 inches long. If you're making the size smaller, that's going to be 15. And then larger is going to be 19. But once again, that is linked in the description box below if you want to check it out that way. So I'm just half double crocheting in every single stitch across. I'm going to repeat row 2 until I have 17 inches total of fabric. So I'm just going to repeat this row until I've got that length done. And then I will meet you back here to seam up the beanie and actually form it into that hat shape. So I will be back in just a few minutes. Just keep half double crocheting in every single stitch across for each row. Alrighty, so I've just finished working until my piece measures 17 inches, which for me is about 24 rows. And now we are ready to join this rectangle into a circle to kind of create our beanie shape. And these instructions are going to be the same no matter what size you are making. So first we're going to chain 1 and turn. And then we're going to insert our hook into the first stitch of that previous row that we just finished. And then we're going to bring up our rectangle so that we can also slip stitch into the first foundation chain stitch. So insert your hook into that and then yarn over and pull through both of those loops to create a slip stitch. And we're just going to do that all the way across. So we're going to work into the next stitch of the previous row, next foundation chain stitch, yarn over and pull through both of those loops on the hook. And we're just going to repeat that all the way across to join this piece into a really like a cylinder shape, and then we will seam the top together to create the crown. So I'm just going to keep slip stitching all the way down the side of the beanie. Alrighty, so once you finished slip stitching across the beanie here, we're going to cut that yarn, leave a little bit of a tail, and then go ahead and thread it through a yarn needle just like this one. And we're going to seam up this hole to form the crown of our beanie. So we're just about done. I'm going to start by flipping it inside out so that that slip stitch edge is on the inside of the work, nice and hidden. And now I have already threaded my tail through my needle, and I'm just going to whip stitch this hole shut. So to do that, I'm just going to insert my needle into every row, going around a few times, and then pulling that tail through. You could pull the needle through every single row if that's easier for you. I like doing a few at a time just to be a little bit more efficient about it. Again, we're just doing the whip stitch here, and then pulling that tail through around every single row. Alrighty, there we go. So I've whipped stitched it all together, and now I'm just going to pull that tail really snug to close up that hole. And I'm also going to make sure that the tail is on the inside. You could weave that in first, and honestly it's a little bit easier if you do it that way. And we're just going to pull this really, really tight to completely shut this hole. And one thing that I like to do is keep going around these stitches a few more times just by inserting the needle into them and pulling the yarn through again, just to make sure that this hole is completely shut. So I'm just going to go through the tops of those rows again like this and pull again, and I'm just going to repeat that a few more times until the hole is completely shut. Okay, and then once your hole is shut, I'm just going to thread the needle through the center of that, and then flip the beanie to the wrong side again and weave in the end like this. And then to do that, I'm just going to go back through a few of these stitches and then go down a few into the beanie just to get that tail nice and hidden and secure. You could also tie this tail in like a knot or something if you want that extra security, but that's typically not really necessary. And there we go, and you can go ahead and weave in this end as well. So I'll just thread that through here. Just like that. And then to do this one, I'm just going to weave back in a few of these stitches at the top. And that should be good. There we go. All right, and then I'm just going to cut both of these ends, knowing that they are nice and secure, and there is your finished beanie. So I like to kind of fold up the brim here to create just a little bit more of a classic beanie look. You could also leave it unrolled if you prefer that, and it would be a little bit slouchier. You could add a faux pom-pom. I really like to do that on the top of my beanies, or you can make one with yarn if you have any leftovers so that none goes to waste. But yeah, I absolutely love these crochet beanies. They are so quick and easy to make, and they make like great craft fair projects if you want to sell them this fall, or you could make some for Christmas gifts or whatever. But regardless, I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful, and I will see you all again next time. Bye.